Monday special. I want to start by introducing my guests before I give you some facts and figures around alternative treatments. To my right is Dr. Binti Murugi, and you're a general practitioner. Welcome to the program. And on my left is Shadrach Moimet. He's a herbal practitioner, having learned his practice from tutelage with a grandmother who specialized in it, correct? And also from a herbal college in Canada.
Yes, through correspondence.
Through correspondence. All right, thank you. Welcome to the program. So let's just start by showing you some interesting reasons why many people are using alternative treatments, particularly herbal treatments here in Kenya. Well, Kenya is, as you know, endowed with a vast majority of medicinal plants. 2/3 of the Kenyan population are said to depend on traditional medicine. That's despite the fact that 80% of our population lives just 5 kilometers from a medical facility. And some of the reasons why they opt for traditional medicines include the fact that modern medicine is often expensive and a lack of drugs at these facilities. Also has been cited the case of a shortage of health professionals to cater to our population. The WHO, World Health Organization, has also recommended the integration of traditional medicine with modern healthcare. And our source there is the National Coordinating Agency for Population and Development. And so tonight we've been asking you to send in any questions that you may have regarding alternative treatments or conditions that you may have, and you're already doing that, and we'll be sampling them towards the end of this broadcast. But I want to start with a definition of terms, and I'll start with you, Daktari. What is alternative medicine, and how does it differ from modern medicine, knowing that modern medicine does in fact use herbs and other substances to treat?
Okay, that's a good question. Alternative medicine and modern medicine are similar, but the difference with modern medicine is that it's evidence-based. There are clinical trials. It can be replicated in different populations, and we know exactly when we give this drug, this is going to be the outcome for majority of the population. So alternative medicine, on the other hand, we can say there's some efficacy, but we can't really explain the science behind it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you describe what you do?
Thank you very much. I can describe alternative medicine as a form of treatment which has been used from time in antiquity to treat various ailments which affect human beings, and it is the use of the trees and the shrubs, the barks, the leaves, and even the whole plant. Mm-hmm. And traditional medicine is good because it treats people holistically. You don't say that for example, when you are treating a problem like amoeba, it also treats other parasites. So it is holistic way of treatment.
Mm-hmm. And how do you respond to the fact that because it is not necessarily evidence-based, you cannot be sure that you will get the same result every time in different populations?
You get, because I've been practicing for a long time, and the patience proves because of the testimonies which the patients tell the others. Mm-hmm. So it is a form of treatment which has been passed from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. And it has been working. So that is why you see a lot of people going to alternative medicine. And yep. Also the form of the cost, because it is readily available and it is not expensive.
And that is one of the limiting factors, Daktari, that sends many people to traditional ways of healing. Has modern medicine, do you think, in some ways failed the general population by being so out of reach?
I wouldn't say failed. I guess there are many things about modern medicine that are very accessible to everyone. I think of late it's been getting a lot of backlash because of many issues that plague the industry. I mean, there's a shortage of staff. So I feel as doctors, we also fail to really know our patients, to really know the circumstances they live under, to understand their way of life, to understand their diet, to understand their stressors, and then treat them from that level as opposed to just treating a symptom of a greater problem.
Right.
So if we could holistically understand our patients, that would go a long way into assisting them. But now, as it is now, there's a lot of understaffing. You see maybe 100 patients in 2 hours. It's not very possible to really give patients the care they deserve. So there's been a lot of, like I could say in many ways, the system has failed patients here.
All right. Would you ever recommend to your patients to use natural remedies, herbal treatments?
For some things, yes. It has to be done in the full knowledge and in the full scope of what you're actually suffering from. Like, for instance, giving someone a high fiber supplement to assist them with bowel movements can only help them in their health eventually, especially if they've complained of constipation, if they've complained of bloating, even something as simple as increasing water intake and starting a high fiber diet. I would say, okay, if it's a safe alternative for you and you feel confident with it, knowing exactly what you have and knowing all your options, then it's something I could consider if I know what the drug is. But if there's something like, let's say, a drug which, okay, you see, I've seen a lot of herbalists give like a drug like echinacea, or they prescribe calcium. So we know exactly what that is. But if there's a concoction someone gives by their name, for instance, and we don't know what's inside, that I would not recommend.
Right.
Yeah.
Mohamed, would you recommend to those who see you to use modern medicine?
Yeah, at some, you see, when you are doing herbal medicine and you get that the patient is not responding to herbal medicine. So at some stages you have to send the patients for checkup so that we get the correct ailment. But now, if you don't do that, it will be very bad, because the relation between the herbal doctors and the confessional is not good. So it's good when we harmonize, and, so that we can be having counter referrals, because you get cases like misconception. We do very well in natural medicine, but the conventional doctors have minimal results because they go for operation. So alternative medicine should be an option, rather than the conventional doctor saying you don't have to use herbs, they are bad, and so on. I know that there are some people who practice it which are in a very bad way, which they are not recognized. But if it is a treatment which someone has the papers, because you have to be registered, you have to be your medicine have to be tested, like mine was tested by Kenyatta University, and it shows that it is effective for the various ailment which I put forward. So it is good that these treatments are harmonized.
Okay,
yes.
So tell us about your process. How do you identify what is ailing your patient, and how do you arrive at what medicine to prescribe, as it were?
Yeah, the patient always comes, especially most of the patient who comes are the ones which have gone through the hospitals and they don't see any change. So when they come, they have the results, and I may also send them, those who don't have the results, to be checked, and also have the natural experience of dealing with patients, such that if someone is ailing from a kidney problem, you can see the symptoms and know that this is a kidney problem, or this is a liver problem, like when they have the yellow eyes and dry skin and so on. So when I get to know that, and also give time to the patient to express he or herself, so that I know how he feels, then now I can now go to the treatment, because I'll have known the problem, and I know the cause of the problem. That's now when I start advising him or her on the lifestyle changes, and I now give out the medicine so that she or he can go and use.
It has been reported in various journals that Kenya, particularly along the equator line, has some of the best medicinal plants, etc. What would you say Kenya is famous for in terms of traditional healing or medicinal plants?
Kenya is blessed with traditional or medicinal plants, because according to me, I get a lot of herbs just in Kenya, and it has been doing a wonderful job. So if this practice is recognized properly, it can even make other countries to come for medicinal tourism instead of medical tourism, instead of us going to India for operation and so on. So we have many herbs like Prunus africanus, we have olives, we have a lot of herbs, and it has been working because I've been in this practice for over 20 years.
Okay. Dr. What would you advise Kenyans to consider when they are choosing which path of healing they want to take, be it what you practice in terms of modern medicine or alternative therapies?
Okay. First of all, I think Kenyans have to be very pragmatic with their bodies. The thing I like about alternative medicine is that the patient now takes charge of their care, and it's not solely placed on the doctor to make you well. So you're thinking, let me take this glass of wheatgrass, let me have maybe this supplement. So you're taking charge of your healthcare. So in the same, if we were to employ the same strategy for our patients, we'd want people to take charge of their healthcare. So that means if you have a health issue, you have to know exactly what the health issue is. You have to go for a full battery of tests. We need to do x-rays if need be. We need to do CT scans if need be. If you have a cancer, we need to know what stage it is. We need to be able to diagnose exactly what it is, so that we give you your full options of care. And if you look at your full options of care and you decide herbal medicine is best for you, we'd probably advise against it, because we have evidence that shows that this is how this cancer is treated, and we can be 100% sure that you'll receive results. If you choose to go the herbal medicine way, the challenge with that is that it's based on testimonials. So testimonials, again, are so low in the hierarchy of evidence, because I think there's an Australian blogger who made her career out of treating, she said she healed herself of a brain tumor. So with herbs and lifestyle and exercise and so on. But after a period of a successful career, it was actually found out that she had no brain tumor to begin with. So how can we be sure that the testimonials received are actually what they claim to be? So I think for anyone who's choosing to go a herbal way, I mean, it's the patient's prerogative. What I'd suggest you do is go online. Everyone has internet. Look at all the evidence offered there. And don't go for something that says a testimonial, but go for a study, like a clinical study, and see how many people were in the study. If the study says there were 30 people, leave it alone. If it was tried in 10,000 people and 9,000 had a good result, then I'd say maybe you can consider it. But the best thing to do in the full knowledge is just to be pragmatic and go for what you know works.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to just take a look at some of the top 10 ailments or conditions in the country, and Moimet, you'll take us through what you would recommend for these treatments. And of course, Dr. is here, and if it is an I or an A, please feel free to interject as you take us on it. So I want to start with pneumonia, which some years back was named the #1 killer in the country. Somebody comes to you with pneumonia, what would you prescribe?
If someone comes with pneumonia, that's a respiratory problem. So I have to give something which deals with respiratory system. I have to give an herb which builds the immunity so that the body can be able to fight the pneumonia by itself. Thirdly, I'll give something which fights, which is a natural antibiotic, which deals with the parasite which causes the pneumonia.
And what would those be specifically? What herbs are you talking about?
I have several. We have even herbs like, we have an herb like yarrow. Yarrow is a good herb which is good for respiratory problems. We have even, because I have to tell you herbs which are popular. For example, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is good for expectoration. And these respiratory problems are always being caused by mucus clogging in the system and making it very weak to exudate the mucus. So if you use those herbs, which, for example, even the one for building immunity, like Dr. have said of echinacea. Echinacea is good because it removes the cause of the problem and make the body to be very strong, the immune system to be very strong. And by so doing, the body can be able to fight the problem. And within some few days, you see the patient says she or he is getting well.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Any reservations?
Many.
Many. Okay.
Yeah.
Say them.
Okay, first of all, when you're treating pneumonia, I would want to know how you came to the diagnosis of pneumonia. I think for me in my practice, I've seen a lot of false diagnosis of pneumonia where someone has a common cold, it's pneumonia. Someone has a cough, it's pneumonia. Someone has a fever, it's pneumonia. It may not even be a fever, it could just be a hot day, it's pneumonia. So what exactly are you treating? How did you come at the diagnosis? So the best thing would be to actually get a final diagnosis. What we'll do is check the sputum. We want to know, is it a bacterial cause? Is it a virus? Could it be TB? We want to do like a full diagnosis and treat exactly what it is.
Yeah. If you go to the goodness with herbal medicine is that I told you it is holistic. If the patient comes and the test shows that it is pneumonia, then you will do it head-on with the herbs. But now if it is a problem which could be, the way you are saying, it could be a cold or so. So when you mix herbal medicine, it goes to any problem in respiratory system.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like we're saying, we're not recommending, we're absolutely not recommending a certain course of treatment. If in question, see your doctor. But this is what herbal practitioners are recommending. Malaria. Yeah,
malaria. I think even the best treatment now is artemisia, which is an herb, which even the conventional doctors have extracted and are using at the moment. So we have several herbs which deal with malaria. And also I told you the goodness with us herbalists, we do it, we mix the herbs. They want to deal with immunity and also they want to deal with malaria.
Okay. Yeah. Dr.
Okay, I'll say this. In many ways, as medical professionals in modern medicine, we are standing on the shoulders of herbalists, because a lot of what we use today is something that they discovered and we studied, and it's now become common, conventional practice. So again, for malaria, we know what causes malaria. We know what parasite it is. There's a drug that's cheap, available, treats it very easily. I'm yet to understand why people would opt to leave the drug that's affordable and effective and then go for something else. That I don't understand. But the drug is there, it's affordable, it's effective, it's widely available. I just recommend for someone to first go get the diagnosis, because that's another one that people seem to say malaria all the time, but
Naskia malaria.
Yeah, there's so common
phrase, right?
Naskia malaria, but it could be anything under the sun, including stress. So as long as we have the diagnosis, the drugs we have available for malaria are safe, affordable, and they do the job.
All right.
So,
I want to move on to HIV and AIDS.
Yes, HIV and AIDS, we have, the way I've told you, herbal medicine are good for immune building, and the goodness with herbal antibiotics. Like for example, St. John's wort, it is very good in fighting the viruses, and the goodness also is does it broad spectrum. It deals with all the parasites, because if someone has HIV, the immunity goes down, and a lot of parasites will be in the body.
But you would not say it can cure HIV?
Yes, it can cure.
It can't.
It can. What we say, it is just like the retro travels, but now this is herbal retro travels. It brings back the person. It makes someone to be strong, and also the body to come back to its original self.
Okay, for me, I'm particularly passionate about this one. HIV has been studied extensively, especially in this country, and now there's like a selection of drugs that are working fantastically for patients. In fact, if you check their viral load, many patients are living without the virus but are HIV positive, and they're living full and healthy lives. So I would never advise anyone to stop taking their HIV drugs. That one is completely unacceptable, because they're there, again, they're free, they're available, and they're safe. Many people are dying with HIV as opposed to dying of HIV, thanks to the steps that have been made in modern medicine. But I would say that if someone chose to do like maybe something more holistic to keep your health, like in terms of nutrition, water intake, exercise, if there's a herb that's been proven to be safe and you feel like in your day-to-day life it makes your living more bearable, then I'd suggest you take those. But as far as
in combination,
but as far as HIV is concerned, the drugs that are available need to be taken every day. Okay. No one has been cured yet.
All right.
Completely.
But the problem is that you take this medicine forever, which is not also good. But in natural medicine, if someone goes for the natural medicine, there is no this addiction of using medicine forever. So
I wouldn't say it has anything to do with addiction to taking the drug, but it's been proven time and time again that the virus can never be fully eradicated. So this keeps your viral load down. It always stays in like specially sequestered areas. It's always immunologically hidden. So no one to date has been able to fully cure HIV, and no one has been able to fully reduce the viral load of HIV without the drugs. I think there's only one patient, but they were never able to replicate what happened with Mr. Brown in anybody else. Okay. So for the general population, again, it's just safer to do what has been tried, what has been tested, and what has been proven time and time again to work.
Okay. Yeah. I want to move on to TB, tuberculosis.
Yes, tuberculosis, if a patient comes and the tests have been done, then we have medicine for TB, and it has been working, and it has been used.
What is it that you would prescribe? What sort of herbs, and what do they do?
They go and fight the TB and help the immunity to be able to eradicate that disease by itself. So we have herbs like, for example, we have like myrrh, which is very good for tuberculosis. We have even Prunus africanus. It is working wonders in the tuberculosis.
For you to say something like it's working wonders, I mean, what is your sample size? Like, how many have you done your own kind of testing that shows that this number of people have recovered?
What is there, if the patient comes and or for example, you get a patient who is very sick, and he has gone for conventional medicine, and there's no changes. And when you go and give the medicine, and you get the patient start waking up and it doesn't cough, and the health come back, then that is a way of showing them changes.
Okay, and would you send them back to a regular doctor just to do a further test to be sure that it's cleared?
Some goes and some don't go. So many of them comes with other patients to show that they have been healed.
Dr. How would you explain this? You know, some people feel well. What is that?
Yeah, that would be hearsay, because did the person have TB to begin with? Because again, someone might cough maybe for a day because they were exposed to black pepper and it's now TB. So I'd want to know,
right,
what did they have TB to begin with? And then, you know, there are many other causes of cough. Like, was this actually the diagnosis of TB? But again, with tuberculosis, it's been said time and time again, TB na tiba. We found a affordable, effective way to completely cure TB. It's a 6-month drug regimen, and it's available and it's free. So I would urge people to just take what's tried and tested. Right. And if you feel at any point you need to add something else to your lifestyle, you'll have to consult your health professional, because we need to know exactly what it is you're adding. So people who've been cured of TB, I wouldn't want to speak out of turn and say it's impossible, because I've not done the clinical trial myself to be sure. But let's bring these herbs, let's study them, these drugs, let's study them, let's see how they work for men, for women, for children, for people with hypertension. Can we give this herb to somebody with diabetes? Can we give it to someone with HIV? How does it work with other comorbidities that would exist with TB? So that's what I'd really want to know. So I wouldn't dispute it 100%, but I would want to study it myself and understand through a randomized clinical trial with maybe 10,000 people, so that we can be sure that this herb is actually an effective, safe way to treat TB.
All right, so we're almost out of time, and I just want to do 2 more that are pretty common. One being weight loss. So you have somebody who is overweight. What would you recommend for them?
First, I'll recommend a detox, because what causes someone to be obese is lifestyle. So I'll recommend an herb which will cleanse the colon, so that the body cannot be absorbing a lot of food. And also I give someone something which detox the bloodstream and remove the cholesterol in and also to make the body to be able to metabolize.
All right.
To make whatever goes to the body is used, and also advice on what to do, lifestyle changes. We just don't give herbs and tell the patient to go. We just tell them to change the lifestyle so that it conforms with weight loss.
And in terms of the detox herbs you talked about, what are those?
We have like red clover blossoms, which when someone takes, it clears the fats in the body, and also they want to detox the colon, remove whatever is inside the body, the stomach. And
would that still be red clover?
No.
That would be...
You have laxative herbs, which most of them are traditional. You can't disclose it. But the one which is which I use most is the red clover blossoms in combination with other detoxification herbs, like Knisha.
Okay, a detox for weight loss?
Okay, yeah, that's now an interesting topic. Weight loss is basically putting yourself at a caloric deficit and increasing your physical activity. So anything that assists you to get there will help you lose weight. So I wouldn't advise someone against using herbs, because as long as you're at a caloric deficit and doing exercise, you will automatically lose weight.
But you know, it's all the rave right now. Don't cook your sukuma wiki or your spinach. Just blend it and drink it. Is that something you recommend?
No, not at all, because how sustainable is it? a balanced diet with in a caloric deficit, just portion control, physical exercise, that should do the trick with sustainable long-term results. But that's actually very hard for most people, because how do you get the discipline, you know? So I think maybe the herbal aspect of it could help someone with a bit of the placebo effect, but there are many ways to lose weight. And since losing weight is something that medical professionals would encourage you to do, however you get there, just get there.
Get there. Okay. Finally, sexual dysfunction or other ailments, impotence, infertility, etc. And there's the famous catchword, muhombero. First of all, what is it? Is this a herb that you use?
Mukombero is widely used in Western province, but I don't use mukombero. I have other herbs which are aphrodisiac, which help in sexual dysfunction. And also we have like Prunus africanus, which has been known to even help in prostate issues. And in our case, if you use such an herb in combination with other herbs, and also try and know the cause of that problem also, because it could be a case which you can use by just advising, maybe stress and some other issues. Also in women issues, we have a lot of herbs which help in dealing with the cause of what has caused misconception. For example,
could you name them? Yes.
For example, if someone has a fibroid is one of the causes of misconception. Blocked tubes, cyst. So we have herbs which deals with that scope of diseases. For example, we have herbs like raspberry, which can shrink the fibroid and bring on conception. We have herbs like motherwort, which is good in balancing the hormones. And also we have herbs which help in removing the medicine which are used for in family planning, because you can get other people who have used family planning until now they cannot conceive. So if you can help in detoxing what causes the problem, because they can't say they have been using the so then you know that you have to use something to remove it.
Okay.
And by so doing, people get to conceive.
Right. Recommend it?
I wouldn't recommend it, but I also wouldn't dispute it completely. Again, it comes with understanding, for instance, the full cause of your infertility. Sometimes someone could have a history of pelvic inflammatory disease and you have tubes that are blocked by fibrosis. It can be easily healed by surgery. But a lot of, like something like infertility and erectile dysfunction in men, it has a holistic approach to it. There are many factors that contribute to it. So it could be stress related, it could be diet related, it could be a whole myriad of issues.
Right.
So I could see how herbal medicine would assist, but that shouldn't happen without a full medical diagnosis. Because something like erectile dysfunction in men could be like a red herring for something else more serious. So you'd want to have that fully evaluated.
Okay, so we want to take a look at what you've been saying in terms of alternative treatments, whether you've tried them out and what you think about it. Let's take in some of your views now. Moses, you say the problem with mitishamba is that they aren't explicit to or maybe specific to a sickness, one concoction treating hundreds of illnesses, hence their deliverables are questionable. I ended up in hospital weak and frail after a violent diarrhea and vomiting ensued immediately after taking a concoction. I'll never use mitishamba again. Oh goodness. I was treating chikungunya, a viral disease, with no medical treatment. Nilipona after some few days. Okay. Okay, I guess we are out of time. Well, thank you both for your views. Again, we do not advocate for any particular course of treatment, but we recommend that you see your general practitioner. Thanks for watching tonight. That's our time. I'm Anne Kikuta. Have a good evening.